All right, folks, Rick Berube here for another Facebook Live on this lovely Tuesday, the 13th of April. Today I want to talk about market conditions. All right, so, you know, the old saying, denial is not just a river in Egypt. You know, a lot of you I talk to in my coaching, it's like, you just need to accept this market. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've been doing this 36 years. I've never seen a market quite like this. You know, even people are comparing it to 2007, not even close. Because in 2007, a whole bunch of the loans being done were fraudulent, exaggerated sale prices, you know, no income verification, no down payment verification. These are all, a lot of these deals are cash. Like, you know, the one I was talking about last week in Arizona, buyers made an offer on a $1.5 million property, 1.6, and the property ended up going for 1.75. That's $250,000 over asking, North Scottsdale. $250,000 over asking, that's 17% above asking. Okay, so that is a crazy market. So you really have to accept what's going on so you can talk to your sellers and buyers properly, okay? And that's the next point I have today is, you know, you want to work with buyers today, you want to, and I'm going to get into that next, but you want to have a plan for taking listings. You have to take listings. I mean, you don't have to, but it would be very helpful to your career, to your existence, to your mindset, to your mental health. You should have listings too, because if you only are working with buyers, you're doing it the hard way. You really, that's all I can say. You're doing it the hard way, all right? So, what can you do today? Well, the lead sources haven't changed, even though the market has. You know, I know a lot of people, and everybody goes crazy when I say this, but a lot of people making a lot of money on old expired listings. Go in, you know, join a company like Landvoice, RedX, Mojo. Don't use the auto dialers, remember, but you can get the information from them. All right, like they scrub them for you. Like RedX, I'll give you an example. You can go back, you can get old expireds back 2, 3, 4 years, and a lot of these people, remember, their house has appreciated a lot since then. All right, so, and a lot of people ask me, should I go after notice of defaults? I would not. It wouldn't be a source I would do right now. If I'm going to do notice of defaults, I would rather do just sold calls because, remember, people are moving today for a number of reasons. You know, my house has gone up 30%. They only bought it 3 years ago. Now I have equity, and I always want to live over here, so I'm going to sell my home and buy a new home. Very common today because the interest rates are incredible. Even though I'm going to pay more money, my payment's not going to change a heck of a lot. But you're going to see a lot of that right now, especially with, you know, COVID lightening up and vaccine out there and people feeling more comfortable. You're going to see a lot of that happening. So the more people you talk to, the better your database, your CRM, the more organized it is. And let's face it, guys, you guys have the VAC 2.0 to use, and it has everything you could possibly want in there and then some. You can't even use it all. So it's really, you can customize it for what you want to be using. But whether it's expireds, new expireds, old expireds, for sale by owners, which all of you should be visiting right now, for sale by owners, because now you have an additional inventory in your mind as you're talking to some of your buyers that doesn't exist yet. You just need to get out there. You know, people, well, there's no listings. That is a lazy cop-out statement. Of course there's listings. Okay, there's fewer of them, but all of our markets, more are coming on. These are the listing months, man. April, May, and June. Best listings of the month, best listing months of the year in all 4 of our markets: Nevada, you know, Las Vegas, Arizona, you know, the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, Orange County, and the desert of California, and a little squad in between there. You know, that's all about taking listings right now, and they're going up. So you should definitely get your share of them. Do not buy into that there are no listings right now. They're just selling fast. Okay? I don't think standing inventory is going to change much, but the new listings coming on that will get gobbled up will definitely change. And a lot of times when you take a listing, you have a buyer in the bank. All right? So listings are where it's at. Also, we have that tremendous product called Apex. Okay, so if you have people that are afraid to sell because they don't know what they're going to buy, that's what Apex is all about. Especially if they need a little work done on the house. They buy the property, they do the work. Once it sells, after their fee, if there's a difference, they give it to the seller. It's like all the benefits of the iBuyer without the downside, which is you're not going to make anywhere near as much as you could. Otherwise, why would they be buying it? Because they sell it right away. All right, so Definitely check out Apex. It's a talking point when you're taking a listing too. It's part of your conversation with them because it's something you should be offering everybody right now, really. If they have any concerns about where they're going and how that's going to happen. Now, last point about listings is when you're doing listing presentations, of course there are commission cutters out there. Of course there are people that will tell them that their home is worth more money. That is lazy, lazy, lazy. Well, my only value proposition is I'll do it for less. Ooh, could you imagine if you went to have open heart surgery? All right, who's the cheapest? That's not even a question you ask. But this is your financial health, and people are doing, freebie commissions in some cases, okay? People say to me, well, how do you handle that? You use it to your advantage. All right, so you're over to the list. Look, if you're talking to a seller and they say, I'm talking to Joe Schmo, will you do it for 4%? Well, commissions are very important to you. I can hear that. It's also important to me. It's one of the first things we'll talk about when I come out. You should interview. If they already have it, I'm not going to tell them to, but if they already have an appointment, you should interview them. You should also interview a full service company like myself. Whoever you decide to go with, I will totally understand, but you should talk to everybody. Because just assuming paying less commission nets you more money is a mistake. Okay, I'll see you Tuesday at 6. And I go up. Now I'm going to use what they're doing to my advantage. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, okay, for instance, Sally was just here. Let's say the house is $400,000. And all the comps say 400, even with the craziness that's been going on. But Sally came in and said that she could list it, even though it's worth 400, we should ask 450. That's a mistake. Will it sell for 450? Maybe, but not if you're asking 450. See, here's what you're doing. You're deciding for a buyer what they will overpay for the property before they've even seen your property. If someone's going to overpay for your property, it's going to be their decision, not yours. Right? So you put it on the market at 400, and then you have, the craziness, the 9 offers, and then let them decide. And a lot of times it'll be more. Okay, but not if you start. So that's a little mistake, not a little mistake, it's a big mistake that some of these people that'll do it for less money, tell them it's worth more money. Okay, now that's just one step in the process. What other mistakes are they going to make? Right? What other mistakes are they going to make? So, if you go over to a seller's house and you present this, it has to be the buyer's decision, not ours. Let's them drive it up, not us. Okay, we turn them off emotionally before they even come to your house. Buying's an emotional thing. You can't start off by slapping them in the face and go, oh, by the way, overpay for my house. They have to make that decision. And what happens is, when everybody gets interested in the property, it creates excitement. And when excitement happens, everybody has to have it. And when everybody has to have it, the price goes up. That doesn't happen if you start with the price too high. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's why you want to list with me. Because I'm going to net you more money. We're going to have a lot less problems. And the people that buy this house are really going to want it. That's just step one, though. What about everything else that could possibly go right or wrong in the situation? Okay? So just by assuming look, the only thing you accomplish by paying less commission is paying less commission. So if your only job is to, honey, we want to pay the smallest commission. Never mind about the bottom line. That doesn't even make sense. But that's what happens if you do that. So what's your concern? Paying the smallest commission or netting the most money? Of course it's netting the most money. That's why you want to use me. This is just step one. There are several steps in this process. So do you want to roll the dice and take a chance, or do you want to get top dollar for your home and have everything handled for you? Okay, so that's a very important point. A lot of sellers, you have to have the confidence to go into their house and talk to them this way in this market. Otherwise, why would they list with you? They have to believe you're the most educated, the most competent person. Okay, this is not being a pushy salesperson. This is factual information. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? Anybody has any questions, type right in there. And okay, when I watch this after, I'll be able to answer them for you. Okay, so that's listings. So I've got market conditions, accept it. Denial is not pretty. As the old saying, what you lack in style, you make up in denial. You don't want to be in denial. All right, it's not just a river in Egypt. Remember that? I love that saying. Okay, because if you're in denial about this market, you're never going to be able to maximize it. Secondly, you still have to prospect for listings, and then you have to have a presentation that shows them that you're going to net them the most money with the fewest problems. Our brand, we have so many tools, guys. Okay, learn about them, especially Apex in this market. Okay, my next point is buyers. If you're not having a super buyer consultation which goes something like this. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you're going to get, here's what we're going to do. You're going to send me an email of everything you want in the property and everything you don't want. I want to see both. You're also going to get qualified by my lender. Don't have to use them, but you got to at least get qualified by them. I recommend you do use them, but all right. And thirdly, okay, equity title. You want to use Axio mortgage, and you want to make sure, because in today's market you can't let anything. There can be no blips. Okay, so you want to make sure everything's taken care of. As a buyer, you want to make sure you go in with the best possible scenario so you look the best in the transaction. And all this stuff has got to be done, including them signing a buyer-broker agreement. There's never been a time in the history of real estate easier, more understandable why you should sign a buyer-broker agreement and get the total fiduciary responsibility from your agent than now, ever, in the history of real estate. Okay, so if you're not getting one signed, you're being lazy. Okay, you're not taking your client's best interest. You have to explain to them why that is. You have to hire me. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to send me everything you want and don't want in the home. You're going to get pre-qualified. We're going to have all of this stuff put together. Then we're going to go out and find your house. Your only job now is to be accessible. And I mean really accessible. Like, talk to your boss. Hey, this won't last long, maybe a week or two. You're going to have to be, I may have to leave from work for an hour here and there. I may have to take a long lunch. I may have to go home early. Won't last long, week or two, but we'll get you a house. Does that make sense? Now, if I really want to buy, this conversation I just had, is that turning you on or off? If it's turning you off, then you're really not or you're in denial about the market as a buyer, which will happen. I'd rather let them go out and make someone else the bad guy, because that's what you're being, the bad guy. Because when something doesn't happen in a transaction, they're not going to blame themselves, they're going to blame you. So unless you do I would rather say, you know what, go out, get frustrated. I don't word it like that. All right, go out and do it your way. If you change your mind, I'll be here. But I know they're going to bang themselves against the head and not get properties, because in order to do it today, you have to know exactly what's going on and you have to know how to accomplish it. And do you expect an agent to do all of that and get that done, and you're not even a client of theirs? You have to be a client in order for that to happen, not a customer, a client. That requires a contract between you and I. Does that make sense? Now, is everybody going to sign one? No, but I don't expect everybody to sign one. But I expect the people that are going to buy a home from me to sign one. Otherwise, plus I don't even like see, I've been around since before buyer agency even existed. Yes, I've been around since before the internet existed. I've been doing this for 36 years. I've made every mistake you can make in this business and survived. Okay, so that's not one I would make right now. I would make sure everybody's my client, okay, not my customer. And then, especially if I have their listing, I'm going to have a buyer broker agreement signed as well, because you can't be demoted from a client to a customer in the same transaction once they sell your home, and help you buy something else, okay? And then the last point I have for today is mindset. Your mindset has to be rock solid. The funny part about doing this as long as I have is that people always say to me when the market's down, I can't wait for the great market. The great market is here. As a matter of fact, it might be too great in some instances. All right, but there are different challenges. Here's what I have found in a market like this. Loyal people become less loyal. Money makes people greedy. When my home has gone up 30, 40%, so your sphere, you have to talk to all the time. Don't assume they're going to use you, because you'll get bit by that. All right, every one of your leads, recall them more than necessary. Okay, because they're talking to other people as well. So you have to have a super positive mindset for this type of market, even though the market is super positive, because it'll eat you up. You're gonna have rejection just like you do in a bad market. You're gonna have people pick other people just the way it is. So you have to be positive, and you have to have a routine in order to be positive. Okay, audiobooks, YouTube has all kinds of good stuff on there. Whatever you want to do to stay positive. Hey, as luck may have it, we have a success series starting next week. So look at your emails, okay, and look for the social media about taking my courses. And I talk a lot about how to take listings. As a matter of fact, it's my favorite subject, because I know when you're taking listings, and let's say at least 50% of your business is listings taken, you're in way more control than if only 20% of your business is from listings taken. Okay? So we're going to talk about that. We'll get in depth about a lot of good things in the, next week. I'd recommend you take it. If you haven't taken it in 6 months, take it again. It's changing all the time. All right? And like I said, if you have any questions, you guys can call me anytime. So remember, it's a crazy market. Accept it. You have to be working at taking listings. All right? And there are many lead sources to do that. I've gone over those. I'll go over them next week in Success Series. You have to have, well, I would also recommend company tools like Apex. Okay, and putting all your clients and customers in the VAC 2.0 so they're getting neighborhood reports or market reports or newsletters or all of the above from you. Your buyers need a very strong talking to about how things are going to happen and the way it's going to go. I'd recommend that you start that right from the beginning. And every single day, make sure you're working on your mindset by having, I call it a high-calorie positive mindset diet. It's the only high-calorie diet you should have, about stuff that's going into your head. Because remember, food affects your metabolism, your heart rate, your everything, right? So does information into your head. Okay, so read the right stuff. Stop watching the news is my point. Someone asked me this morning, I did an office meeting this morning, someone said to me, what would you do about the political environment? I would do nothing about the political environment. What do you mean? What if they start talking about it? Well, what do you think? What do you think of this going on? I know it's crazy, right? I never say good, bad, or indifferent. I just agree with them. I know it's crazy. You know, very few people point blank you about what your beliefs are. And if they do, which almost never happens to me, I always go, you know what? I don't get into politics. I sell real estate. Okay, I don't. It's not my thing. Right? So you can just get into that. Religion and politics. And then, by the way, if you're posting stuff on social media about politics, stop it. Not good for you. All right? So there you go. There's my points for today. Keep it simple, folks. You guys are the best. We'll do this again in exactly 2 days. I'll be doing it again on Thursday, but I have an interview you don't want to miss. All right, guys. Thank you.